This is the Recovery Ronin. In this series, I've asked a lot of questions, trying to discover where we can improve on our outcomes. This isn't an attack on what we have and what works. I'm trying to expand our understanding based on what we already know. I'm just trying to take the language and the conversation into a more modern understanding. Because we have so much now. We have the teachings from Buddha and Jesus and Yogananda Maharishi and Plato and Socrates and Master Shi Huanyi. We have all the philosophical and spiritual ideas of the Wu Wei, of Stoicism, of the Vedics, the Hermetic principles, Christian Gnostic practices. We have all the cognitive and behavioral science, CBT, DBT, REBT, ACT, Smart Recovery. We have the 12-step model and its spiritual values. We have neuropsychology. We have neuropathology and biology. We understand so much about human behavior mechanisms, and we are stuck, scared to explore the truth. For example, the way we treat relapse. I have a lot of questions on modern approaches to addiction, recovery, relapse, and healing. My number one issue is the way we treat relapse as if fear is our best tool. Fear of consequences, play the tape through. We should hold on to fear. I literally had a clinical director tell my entire community, 42, that she said, I've been doing this 34 years, and I tell everybody the same thing. If you want to stay clean and sober, you hold on to that worst moment when you got the detox, whether you came on plane, train, or automobiles. That worst moment, you hold on to it every day, and that's what'll keep you sober. That's what'll keep you clean. My mouth must have been on the freaking floor. More fear, more guilt, more shame, more suffering is what stops addicts. This whole idea, every real addict, every addict stage 2 and beyond, those of us that have suffered serious consequences, we're not in denial. We're desperate for relief and freedom. We pretend that's not real, that we're having a good time in our addiction. I am an expert on this. I have worked at over 30 facilities. I'm a private contractor clinician. I've worked with basically every modality that exists. I've even built my own. I've worked with adventure, experiential exposure. I've seen what works and what absolutely does not. Weaponizing fear, guilt, and shame is not effective. Ruminating on problems all day long, not effective. Talking about substances and triggers all the time, not effective. How do we expect a person who can't stop themselves from eating chocolate after 10 o'clock to stop a survival mechanism hijack of their brain and nervous system during a craving in an extreme state? SEALs can barely do this. The test they fail the most is the BUDS test, the one that challenges them to override the amygdala hijack, where they drown them at the bottom of a pool in scuba gear. If they come up, they fail. Even with years of military training and discipline, awareness of what the test is, the supportive, structured environment they have, still the hardest thing Navy SEALs do, according to them. So let me play a scenario. Let's say I get a mother, a parent who loves their family, loves their kids, full of guilt and shame and regret for their alcoholism, right? They usually have some type of complex trauma. They come into treatment desperate for freedom. They work their asses off. They do every meeting, every group. They take notes. They come ask me questions after group. They work with their therapist. They go home, same thing. They eat better, exercise, go to meetings, get a sponsor, do the steps, pray in the dark when they can barely breathe, cry when they feel all alone. They're fighting their ass off to overcome years of addiction and childhood trauma. They do everything right for a year, and everybody is so happy and supportive of them. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. All of her sports tell her. And then she has a bad week. Stress starts to build. Neurochemistry starts to evolve, right? Old thinking comes back, old feelings. She's arguing with her boss and her partner. Her kids are out of control. She gets a flat tire on the way home. Before she even knows what to do, she's drinking. And to tell me that she should have played the tape through or called her sponsor, really? That's a 1 in a million thing. We've all tried it. I literally asked thousands of addicts, alcoholics, this question. How many times were you on your way to relapse or to use, especially when you fought through some days sober or weeks sober, and you knew you promised everybody you would never do it again. You weren't even going to enjoy it. You're begging yourself to turn around. There was going to be a direct, serious consequence in your life that day if you didn't turn around. Did you turn around? They always say no. Just like me, I've relapsed over 200 times, and I've cold turkey detoxed myself at least a week, every one of those times, off of IV, heroin, Oxycontin, and Xanax. I know this disease. I know what it's like to be unbelievably desperate and willing and not have a path. I'm not arguing with what we're doing. I'm saying the conversation has gotten so shallow. And when this mother relapses, what are those other people in her life going to say? All these supports that were so supportive of her during her journey. That I see you, I believe in you, you showed me how much this matters to you. I got your back. This is just information, data that we're going to take and learn from. Or are they going to tell her she didn't love her kids enough? We all know the answer. What are we doing? Right? We really think the key to freedom from addiction is fear of consequences, when the definition of a disease is a behavior that continues despite consequences. Help me understand how this makes sense. Please, somebody. Truth of addiction, understanding it as a brain disease, right? A neuropathological hijacking, a neurochemical imbalance, a survival emergency state of our physiology. That truth doesn't excuse relapse. The denial of the truth promotes it. Just because we say it's not a choice doesn't mean we can't judge the effort somebody puts into the recovery and acknowledge that as what recovery should look like, not the absence of one behavior or another. And then anytime that, I mean, what do you think most addicts do? If you have an addict brain, you've probably relapsed. The amount of people who never relapse as addicts, it's a tiny, 0.00001%. Relapse is a part of this process. No addict, no real addict that cares about anything, including their own suffering, wants to go back. It's hell on earth. We don't need to weaponize more fear, guilt, and shame against addicts to get to fight for their freedom. We've got to teach them how. And with all this information, all this research, we need to update the conversation. We need to take the mindset from the spiritual masters. Today is the greatest opportunity of my life. Life happens for me, not to me. We need to take the message from the cognitive and behavioral sciences, how to create space between our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, and our behaviors. We need to take a look at neuroscience. What increases in neurobiology are endorphin production and what creates neuroplasticity, novel experiences in venturous environments, learning new skills, metacognition, and mindfulness. We need to take the beliefs from the philosophy and spiritual teachings of Taoism and Buddhism and Christian Gnostic practices and understand that we are energy, we are conscious awareness, and that our brains have been wired out of line of our true essence. Our experiences create a predictive pattern in our brain, and we have to go into it. We have to create that space of sitting, challenging our limiting beliefs, our false narratives, the impulsiveness of our body. Just because we have a feeling and an impulse doesn't mean it's a command. But if you don't challenge it, learn to discern over time and practice. And that's what I'm doing with Fourth Fall Awakening. Most of this conversation I'm having is to get people to try to listen. Getting people willing to challenge the narratives of the ego is incredibly difficult because everybody would rather be right and suffer their whole lives because it's familiar and comfortable than to take a hard, long look and challenge the narratives of their ego. We seek comfort. Comfort never healed anybody. We need to learn to choose discomfort. And it's not just going to the gym. It's, why do I make excuses not to go to the gym? How do I put them on the big screen of my conscious awareness? Make a simple choice. Learn to not just live a life of habitual, impulsive behaviors. Learn to rewire ourselves to live intentional lives, to heal, to truly heal. I have found through these practices a level of happiness, wholeness, contentment, and peace that I never thought possible. I walked with a cane for years. Was so suicidal, I asked 18 of my friends to support me getting medically assisted suicide 6 years ago. I have a spinal disability that causes me spasms, and I still have them. I'm actually starting to get better against all medical understanding. I should not be getting better. My arthritis is going away. All I did is started believing in what they've been teaching us, the Joe Dispenzas, the Hubermans, the Greg Bradens, the Dr. Bruce Liptons, even listening to the motivational people, Master Shi Hun Yi, David Goggins, Jekyll Williams. It's all there. Just how to put it into something I can understand, simple, digestible, control what we can't control. Take the serenity prayer, turn it into a skill set. What can I not control? I can't control my past. I can't control my future. I can't control the way others see me and feel about me. I can control my perception, my effort, my attitude, my concentration and focus, and my energy. That's what I learned to do. It's a skill set. I've been unbelievably successful with the adventure, exposure, experiential modalities, working with my partner, Mr. Meeks, in the LIVE program. I have seen what works. which changes people's brain in 3 weeks. We already know what it does. And if you create a culture of do hard shit, of challenge to change, not seeking fit in and feel better. I'm going to challenge myself in this moment, whatever that looks like. If it's an extra sip of water, if it's 1 minute of breath, it doesn't matter. Either you're putting effort intentionally into change, and you can tell me how you do it, or you're not. Let me break it down this simple. You're either a victim of your nervous system, or you're becoming its master. I'm not saying I'm a master. It's a climbing of a mountain. And if you are becoming the master of your nervous system in your mind, you should definitely be able to tell me how. Guess what isn't it? If you go, well, I just keep it simple one day at a time, no matter what. And you can't tell me how, what skills, what practices, what tools, what are your real goals, then you're just full of shit. And I know truth is going to piss people off, and that's okay. I will not be complacent any longer. I am the recovery Ronin, Sensei No. And I'm here to update the conversation. I'm here to update the language. I'm here to help families heal. I didn't invent any of this. All I did was connect the threads. I meditate a lot, and I got every bit of the modality I built with Fourth Wall Awakening from the Akashic Records and my life experiences. And I hope you join me. And if you stayed this long, thank you. I honor you.